MJZ Reviews here, and yes, I am back after a very long time, but today I have a very, very special video for you, because literally 2 minutes ago, I finished Yu Yu Hakusho, and I wanted to give you my raw thoughts on this series. I haven't looked at any other analysis videos, I haven't debated with others online over which is the best arc. This is just my raw thoughts after finishing it. So, I am going to go through the story and the characters first, then I'll give you my opinions on the conclusion of the anime, and then I'll tell you what I thought of the actual anime adaptation. And then I'm going to answer the big question that everybody who watches Yu Yu Hakusho asks once they've finished it. And yes, here we go. So first I'll start off with the characters. This main cast of characters was they were good, solid. Okay, so first obviously Urameshi Yusuke, like wow, what a good character. Like he's relatable to me, because he's a high school boy who likes to fight, a bit like me, and and he starts off as a guy who just doesn't know what he wants in life, and it's really emotional seeing his reactions to everybody seeing him die at the start, and he doesn't know what he wants in life, and then he slowly, by the end of the series, he knows that he lives to fight, but still he does care about others, like especially Keiko. And then there's Hiei, who is kind of like your typical kind of like bad boy shonen kind of rival. He starts off as a kind of like villain of the week, and then he slowly becomes one of the main characters. And he gets development later on in the series, which is good. And he's a solid character throughout, and I think it's personally really funny when when he falls asleep after he uses one of his moves, which I can't name off the top of my head. And then there's Kurama. I think that's his name. It might be different in the English dub, but Kurama, he is again a solid character. He's kind of very similar to a certain character from Hunter x Hunter, but he has interesting powers. Maybe not that interesting at times, but obviously he can turn into Yoko Kurama and stuff later on, which is obviously quite interesting. And yeah, it's weird to see how this guy went from being like a savage bandit to a guy who's completely changed because he had a relationship with his mother. And then there's my personal favorite, and I think everybody's favorite, Kuwabara. Now Kuwabara is just what a great character. He makes me laugh like all the time. I don't usually laugh when I watch anime, but this guy just makes me laugh all the time. He's just like just wow. Even though he is quite weak, and in the last arc he kind of gets sidelined, his drive really makes you like feel for him and you sympathize for him, and it's what a guy. So I'm gonna try and make this video as quick as possible so it doesn't drag on too much. But my views on the story, I'll just go through it one by one. At the start, the first like 5 episodes are quite good actually, especially that first one where he's just where Yusuke is reacting to everybody, seeing that he's dead, and he's kind of questioning what he wants to do in his life, and yeah, and then it goes on. It's kind of like tournament at Barsan's house, and don't really know what the show is aiming for. Does it want to be a villain of the week show? Does it want to be like a mystery show? Does it want to be a tournament show? And then we get to the Dark Tournament saga where just yeah, wow, you get Toguro, who's basically the main focus of that arc, and everybody likes Toguro. I could do a whole video on Toguro, but once you find that his motivations aren't purely just evil, it's because he's kind of torn inside. You do feel a bit of sympathy for him, and that scene at the end of the Dark Tournament where he takes his glasses off and you see his face for who he truly is, like, just wow. And then the tournament itself did drag on a bit at the start, but those last fights were just incredible. I remember I went to sleep just before the episode of the start of Yusuke versus Toguro. I was so excited about it. I was thinking about it while I was trying to get to sleep, which is something that I hadn't done since I watched Naruto when I was a kid. And yeah, just have a series make me feel like that at 15 years old is just incredible. And Wow, and then after that we get the whole, I think you call it Chapter Black or the Sensory Saga, and I don't know if I like Sensory more than Toguro. Sensory is a very good villain, and I'm not sure which one I prefer because they're both very complicated. I think Sensory may be a bit too complicated because now I still don't understand his like motivations and goals. So I'd really appreciate it if one of you in the comments told me what his like motivation was to to do all the things that he did. But I did understand it a bit, but until the fight where with Urameshi, where he just he kind of has this other motivation where like he lives to fight like everybody else, and it's a bit complicated. But the saga is pretty good. The start's good with the whole that whole what they call it again. There's three guys of their territory inside that house. Yeah, that was a good start to the arc, and then it leads on to Yusuke having to fight these seven guys that are under Sensory, and then the final fight with Sensory is really good, and especially when he even though I did feel like there was a bit of an ass pull when Yusuke like dies and then he turns into this kind of. It turns out, oh, his granddad is a really strong demon. It's just a bit of an ass pull. Another part of the series which I think is quite a big ass pull as well is that kind of pissed me off a bit was when Barsan died, when Genkai died, and when Kuwabara died because I thought, and then they come back to life legit episodes after, which maybe with Kuwabara might have been a bit understandable, and it also adds to like Togoro's character, like he didn't actually kill him because he's secretly like a nice guy. Well, not a nice guy, but he has some sympathy for others. But Genkai coming back to life, I just felt that that wasn't needed, and Genkai isn't too essential to the story after the Dark Tournament, so she could have been written out of it because I think even though it's not like I want her to die, but I think if you're gonna make a character die, don't bring her back 10 episodes later, because then it goes on to Dragon Ball Z levels and stuff. And then there's well, I'm going to talk about the last arc and the conclusion of the series in once. Once I saw that there were only about 15 episodes after the Chapter Black saga, I was like, and I'd heard that the ending was kind of rushed. I was like, I'm not sure if I want to watch this because it's going to be rushed because of the Shonen Jump staff not being kind enough on what's the guy's name, right? So well, whatever his name is, yeah. And it was just it wasn't at the start. It wasn't rushed, and you get Hiei's backstory and everything else, and you get Yusuke trying to find his path because I've one of my favorite parts in the series is after the Dark Tournament. He doesn't know what to do with his life, and he's kind of in the human realm, and he doesn't know what to do, and everybody's kind of felt that way in their lives, where like what can I do? Just staying in this world, I want to do something else, and Yusuke is feeling exactly that, and he has to leave, but he does realize that leaving will have consequences, so he obviously makes that promise to Keiko. And the start was not rushed at all, but then there was the tournament, and the tournament was, I thought it would be like as maybe longer or as long as the Dark Tournament, but it wasn't, and obviously the last match was in the like the quarterfinals, and they had to, and then it was cut out from there. So it was a bit rushed, but luckily it didn't feel too rushed. And I need to find the guy's name. Tagashi, yeah, he he wrote it in a way that it didn't feel too rushed, which is good. And then you get the whole last episode, which is kind of like 2 years later, and I liked it even though there's no dark plot twists at the end. Keiko and Yusuke kiss, and then Kuwabara is implied to have a relationship with Yukina, and he is still trying to find what he wants to do, and Kuwabara's realised that he's a bit of a family man and he wants to stay in the human realm. So that conclude. Even though I did feel like it was rushed, I did really like the ending, and it was happy, and it felt like I knew it was going to end that way, and I was satisfied with it, which is the most important thing. So yeah, so overall, what do I think of it? Of the story, I thought that it was slow in some places. Some episodes be like, oh, just hurry up. It's classic. There's a lot of shonen tropes, to be honest, but it's an early '90s anime, and obviously it's going to have a lot of shonen tropes. And there were some scenes which were very slow, which I'm going to talk about later. And it's the villains were very well written for a shonen, and so were the main characters, and none of them felt too tropey. Some character designs did feel a bit weak because, but that is because there's about 1,000 different characters in like each tournament, and Togashi can't write and draw very like unique designs for all of them. So obviously it's a bit complicated, but even though it did feel shonen-y in parts, and it is a shonen, it did feel overly shonen-y in parts, if that makes sense. There were some very good emotional moments and just great fights as well. Obviously, Yusuke versus Toguro will always be my favourite, but the Sensory one was good, especially the first half of it. And the last fight, the last big fight between whatever his name is and Yusuke was all right. I liked it when Yusuke got his blue ray gun back, but yeah, that was probably the highlight of that fight. So overall, yeah, great story and something I would definitely watch again. Now that it's time for the what did I think of the actual anime adaptation? So the anime, because it's obviously a shonen TV anime, there's going to be scenes where it's not very well animated and it's going to drag, which does kind of hurt the pacing bit of the story, and it can just get in the way and can feel a bit tedious to watch some episodes, especially some of the one where Yusuke and the group go to the demon realm for the first time. Around then, I can remember it dragging a lot, but it does have its good scenes with good animation, especially near the end of the Dark Tournament. And but that's what it's like for every TV, anime shonen. So yeah, that's also the anime adaptation. Great intro. I watched the Japanese version though, so I had the Japanese intro and which is equally as good as the English one. And the voice acting for Urameshi was solid, and for everyone else it was solid. Kuwabara, geez, I know that Christopher Sabat put a lot of effort into Kuwabara's voice acting, but this Japanese guy, he must have put like a lot of effort in as well, because I don't know how he could scream like that for 10 hours straight. Also, the soundtracks, even though I would have liked a bit more variety, the ones that they had were solid. Even though some of them did sound a bit cheap, and there's no really like orchestral soundtrack, and like yeah, but the sad and emotional soundtracks were really good though. But it would have been better if they were more like orchestral ones instead of like synth ones. So my views on the anime adaptation, just mediocre, like straight in the middle, like good, like not good. I mean, I'd say just straight in the middle, not bad, not good. There you go. So this is the question that every single Yu Yu Hakusho fan asks them. Well, either when they're watching the series or when they finished it. Is it better than Hunter x Hunter? And after reflecting for a few minutes after I finished, I have to say, as much as I really enjoyed this show, as much as some scenes got me tearing up, and I mean, not nearly tearing up, and some scenes got me really pumped for the fights, I have to say it's not as good as Hunter x Hunter, unfortunately, because obviously this is Togashi's. I don't think it's his first work, but it was done before Hunter x Hunter, obviously, and I kind of consider Yu Yu Hakusho to be the blueprints for probably the best or one of the best shonens of all time. Hunter x Hunter, and because Hunter x Hunter is all about defying those shonen tropes that Yu Yu Hakusho is full of, like the bullshit power ups. Because you see Yusuke gets this bullshit power up, Gon gets a bullshit power up, but it has major consequences though, and that is it's just I just gotta say that it's better because again, the kind of way people fight in Yu Yu Hakusho isn't as engaging or as interesting as the Nen system in Hunter x Hunter, even though it is a bit too complicated for some. But it was Yu Yu Hakusho. It did have a few more plot inconsistencies than Hunter x Hunter because Yu Yu Hakusho, there's some parts, and especially in the last arc, how I don't know how some characters were going inside and out of the demon realm, like those people who are Yusuke's friends at the Dark Tournament going in and out of the whatever it's called, the thing that separates the demon realm and the human realm. Some of that I just didn't understand, and again the kind of like BS power ups, like Yusuke's great granddad is a demon kind of shit. You know that what I mean? But Hunter x Hunter, just I think it's just better written, and the world seems more fleshed out. The world, I mean, obviously the world in Yu Yu Hakusho is kind of it's our world, but the demon realm just seemed like you didn't really have a sense of location or anything. It just seemed to be one big flat place of with full of trees and demons, and that was it. So I've got to say, Hunter x Hunter is better, but I did enjoy Yu Yu Hakusho, which is the most important part. So finally, what would I give this series out of 10? Now, the thing is, even though it does suffer to shonen tropes and the animation can be lackluster at times, Yu Yu Hakusho made me feel a way that I hadn't felt in ages because I've watched a lot of anime, and once you watch a lot, it can get kind of boring, and you don't really get an emotional reaction out of it. And there's only certain series that can do that. And Yu Yu Hakusho did do that to get me pumped up for a fight. Where the point I was thinking about it the next day at school. It was something that I'd do maybe like 5 years ago, but to make me feel that, and sometimes to make me just feel happy to see a character that I hadn't seen in a while on screen, was just to do that means it deserves an 8.5 out of 10, even though it does suffer from some problems. So yeah, that is it for my raw opinions on Yu Yu Hakusho. It is sad to finish it, and I know that I'll never get an experience like that again. And it's just for some anime series, what would I do to just completely forget about it and watch it over again? But it would it would probably fit in some maybe top 10 anime and maybe top 5 shonen, but obviously One Piece is the best. Sorry, but it was a fun ride and something that I really, really, really enjoyed watching. So it's been MJ's Edge Reviews. Please like and subscribe and share. See ya.